don't know if you can see that butterfly over there in the middle of that beautiful flower. It's too far away to photograph it with my camera, with the one in my phone. I don't have any other one now that my son broke it, so just this and the one in the phone. So if I better video it. You don't see them very often, especially not in the city. Aren't those flowers lovely at the moment? Just set off on my walk to work. I don't think that butterfly wants to come any closer to me. I think it's well aware that I'm looking at it, and doesn't want to let me get too close. Probably thinks, what's this chap doing in the dark glasses? These nice yews looking very nice there. Warsaw, seems to me, people who want to keep gardens in Warsaw have a continuous battle against the winter, and basically single year, or what they call annual plants, seem to go fine because it's nice warm summer and everything, not too dry either. So they tend to make a nice display of annuals. But then you've got to keep putting them in every year. That's the thing with annuals. Perennials, your choice is severely limited to the things which will actually put up with the winter, which is an awful lot stronger than in, for example, either Britain or Berlin. Berlin is as far east as I've seen holly growing happily. I've seen, I think, in the extreme west of Poland, further west than Poznan, I've seen people attempt some holly and mahonia and things like that, but it's not looked too happy. When you come over this far, well, not an awful lot seems to, your choice of what you'd get in the garden centre seems to, drop by about half of the things that you'd get in a garden centre in Berlin or somewhere like that, and certainly the United Kingdom or Belgium or somewhere like that. So in Warsaw one makes the best of what one has, and when it comes to being up on my balcony, you've got two additional issues, well, three actually. I've got full sun, but then at an unnatural time of the day, the sun dives behind another block of flats and then comes out again a couple of hours later. So you've got some strange, well, clouding over it would be to the plant in the middle of the day every single day, which is not a very natural climate. And then, but there are a few months where you get full sun the whole day. The sun's too high to go behind the flats. So, but once it gets to this time of year, it does go behind the flats. This time of year being August. But in fact, it starts doing it halfway through July. So half of May, all of June, and half of July, I seem to have full sun, but all day long, and then interrupted sun from the second half of July onwards. That's one. I think that's probably the least of the problems, because after all, cloudiness does happen in the natural state, as it were. But it's nice. But two more problems seem to exist, and now, well, even a third now. Of the remaining three problems, the next one is wind. Wind seems to come through that thing, introducing a particular chill factor and also a stress factor on plants that not all of which like wind. But strangely enough, even sea buckthorn, of which I planted 4 specimens, which are supposed to be very wind resistant, didn't survive on my terrace. The thing is, there's kind of wind funnel there, and well, thankfully the block of flats I live in is very well constructed and able to withstand all sorts of wind, and just like in Chicago, the blocks of flats aren't worried when the tornadoes come through. It's only the people that live out in, in the suburbs in their small well, homes with quite a lot of wood used in American architecture, as far as I can see. They worry about it, whereas people in these big Chicago blocks, they seem to worry about it less, and that's another good reason for living in flats rather than in individual houses set on the ground and built from, less demanding standards than all the heavy metal casted frames and concrete that go into a tall block, especially one built by Israelis, because they know how to build. And so the wind doesn't affect really the inside of the flat at all, but it certainly affects the balcony, because I'm right there on a wind funnel, and sometimes you can see, the effects of it. And it's rather extreme. I actually like it the way that I can have sun, full sun, but wind, so that you don't feel that you can go out on the balcony and be cooled down while you're taking the sun. I think in many ways it's a good thing. I wouldn't exchange it, but at the same time it makes it a little bit hard for certain plants. And then after that, of course, you've got a winter, which the kind of plants that would like that much heat in the summer aren't expecting that much cold in the winter. So the sorts of stuff that will survive in Warsaw is the same sort of things that will survive in Russia. But sea buckthorn survives all over the place and won't survive my terrace. So that comes on to the other problems. We seem to have in the soil quite a lot of these beetles and their larvae. I think it's some kind of a strawberry weevil that specifically attacks strawberries. I don't know that's what they call it, although actually our strawberries that we've got out there are doing better than most things, but apparently that's out there, they say. And then the final problem on the balcony is that it's now had an infestation of snails that have crawled in from outside. Even though it's all new soil and everything, there shouldn't be any snails there. They've managed to get in eventually, so there they are. They've managed to colonise, and you can see them crawling in and out down the wall when it's a wet day. They take advantage and they get in and out, and crawling up and down a 5-metre wall outside, which is quite surprising. That's probably how they got in the first place. Snails just go from place to place. They may appear slow, but their journeys are, epic. They can do it, of course, because they carry their houses around with them, so they don't have to worry about the return journey. So they just carry on going, and it's a great way in which they can colonise different places. So you'll find them all over the place. And of course you notice them more when it's wet, because then they don't mind coming out and gliding about the place in full view, but other than that they're still there. Even in the sun they sort of like stick themselves in their shells, and then as soon as they get the chance they pop out again and start munching again. So that's not too much good. And somehow even they manage to survive the winter. And we don't have too much by way of ladybirds or things that are actually munching back on the things like aphids that appear on the balcony. There's not that much by way of counter predation. So all told, my gardening efforts on that balcony are not the best.